Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson. I have LD here with me, although I like to leave him sometimes, some places. But he's with me, and you guys are on Glenda's Dragon's Den. We are coming to you live on the Glenda's Magical Creations channel on the
You know what
Roku,
that is, right?
the smallest violin.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And we're on the Conscious Awakening Network on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and a few other streaming platforms. And we have a great um, guest tonight, and Keith H. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank you for being had.
I'm glad we finally got the technical glitches out of the way.
Yeah.
Son of a glitches.
So,
You got a lot going on.
yeah, go ahead. Tell us all about you and everything that's coming up.
Well, most people know me because I was the host of the Booth Brothers Spooks series on Sci-Fi Channel, and I've done a lot of other different TV shows. And right now, we are just wrapping up season one of our new show that'll be out next year on YouTube streaming service called Bourbon Spirits.
Hmm?
We filmed our last show 2 weekends ago, and now we just got to film the wrap ups on it. And that going on, and then next weekend I'll be up at Illinois and SilCon, which is a fantastic free event inside a mall. So look up CILCON if you want to join or you're in the Illinois area. And in the weekend after that, I will be with my buddy Rick Hayes. We'll be teaching a master class at Ross Opera House in Cynthiana, Kentucky, the home of the Walking Dead.
Mm, nice, nice.
So tell us about the new show. What's the foundation of that? How did you get inspired with that?
Well, basically, I have got a lot of things going on, and I can't go do all the investigations that I get hit with. So I called my buddy Shannon Humphreys, who has her own team called OCPR, and asked her if she would like to go do these. And we were filming Shannon doing them with my partner JC Rositas uh, of Crimson Night Productions, and gone to some pretty interesting places and got some pretty interesting real evidence. No orbs. I am not an orb person at all, and I'm not psychic. So, if we can't explain it, then, it gets put on TV.
Okay.
And
Nice.
how is that show different than the other ones?
Do what?
How is this show different than the other ones?
You don't hear nobody go, "What was that? Did you hear that? Oh my God, I'm possessed."
Oh, you mean it's not enhanced?
It's not fake. We'll put it like
Okay.
that. I don't go around the barn. I answer questions. I've been doing this for over 50 years, and I was one of the few out there when it was not cool to be doing this. And my pedigree goes back all the way to the 90s on the internet if you're gonna go look me up. And you know, I call it like I see it. The biker look is not a look. You know, musician, that's my number one mainstay of life. Uh, I've rode motorcycles from the time I was 12 years old and played music out professionally since I was 12 years old and played all over the world. So I don't suffer fools much. I'll give everybody their opinion, but when it starts going, "Did you hear that? Look, that orb is talking to me." And I say, "Well, then go get your vacuum cleaner because that's what you need." Uh, I've even been stabbed over an orb before. That was fun. Lady just got out of prison after 17 years. I like I said, the whole paranormal field has gotten way, and it's double-edged sword here, because of the TV shows, and that is produced for ratings. Our show is not produced for ratings. It is produced for you to entertain, to think, and like, hey, maybe that really could be happening here, or hey, I know what that is. Fine, write me, tell me. If I don't know, I'll be happy to learn. You know, but
So 50 years ago puts us into the 70s. How'd you get dragged into this?
the paranormal world or the
Yeah.
music?
Well, either one. I mean, whatever road you want to go on.
Well, music was first. Like I said, I started learning how to play guitar when I was 10 years old, and I did my first professional gig when I was 12. And then I was on the road when I was 16 all over the world touring. And this was the 70s. So I lived the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll and enjoyed every bit of it. And, you know, uh, didn't think anything about the paranormal world really. I enjoyed horror stories and monster movies and things like that. I loved the old Hammer movies and the Universal movies, and, you know, dug that real well until I got off a tour and I was 17. I met this little girl and we were dating, and she never would invite me to come over and meet her mom and dad. And I just figured, well, it's the 70s. My hair is down to here, full beard, all leather. You know, she just doesn't want to show me to mom and dad. I can understand that. Her mom and dad then contacted me for her 17th birthday to come over as a surprise. And got to the door and she answered it, and I thought she was going to die. And I'm like, look, your parents invited me. I didn't just come over. And he said, you don't understand. So it's nothing like you're thinking. I said, well, if you're embarrassed, they did invite me. And she's like, no, we have a ghost in the house and he doesn't like my sisters or my boyfriend. And I went, yeah, right. Let's go smoke another one, you know. And came in, met mom and dad, and everything's fine. And little ranch house, and we sat down on this couch, and you could see the hallway back to the main bedroom. And mom and dad were fine with me being there, and I kept seeing something cross over in that bedroom back and forth. And she said, well, it's just a ghost. And I'm like, yeah, right. It's somebody moving around. So I went back there and checked it out, and there's nobody there. Come back, sat down, and again, you could see something moving, breaking the image in the mirror that we could see ourselves in. And this went on for hours. And I was young, dumb, and stupid, and didn't know anything I was doing at the time. And taunted this thing to show me, prove to me, I don't believe in you. Do something to prove that you're really here. And nothing really major happened until the end of the night when I got up to leave. And I went to kiss her goodnight at the front door inside the living room. And I felt something grab my left arm. I mean, just powerful. I'm 17 years old, and I was a professional fighter. And this thing just jerked me, and I thought, oh God, Dad's got a hold of me. It's the first thing I thought of. But then I could see him sitting over in his lazy boy, his eyes about that big. And next thing I know, I'm flying through the front door, through the screen door, and I landed out in the front yard past the steps about 10 feet. And I remember laying there going fingers, toes, what's working, what's not, trying to catch my breath. And then that was so cool. Do it again, you know. And I've been hooked ever since.
Mm, okay, that was interesting.
So did you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
find out what that was or why?
Well, what we could find out was that was the very first house built by the guy who built the entire neighborhood. He built it, him and his wife moved into it. He built the neighborhood, and then she got leukemia and died in the house. And he got so despondent over it, he blew his head off.
Oh,
So that's who we figured it was eventually. Um, Eventually, that house was sold several times and sued because they said there's a ghost in the house and you didn't tell us. And, like going, wait a minute, go look at your paperwork. There's a thing here that you signed saying, we think this house is haunted. In Kentucky law back then, you had to put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
So they never won, but it never would stay occupied very long. And then it mysteriously burnt down.
Mm.
It's still just a lot now, great big neighborhood.
Mm. So nobody's there to build on it again.
Nobody, nobody wants to build on it.
Okay. It's fair, I guess. You're afraid that it's going to come back since it's probably based on the land, not on the building. So,
Well, or just because the guy who built the place blew his head off, one of the two.
yeah, true. So that got you started into the paranormal.
Yes.
And kind of like, did you start then going to different houses or just.
Oh yeah. And again, that was in the 70s and 80s, and uh, just started kind of doing things because back then you said you were chasing ghosts. You had the little guys in the white coats with the great big nets chasing you. And by the 90s, I was asked by several universities, local universities, to come speak and do things like that. And that's how I started gaining a following here locally. And then by the mid 90s, of course, the internet came on, and I put my group, the Louisville Ghost Hunter Society, on the internet. We were the 39th ghost hunting group ever put up on the internet.
Mm.
And now there's millions, So that kind of goes back to how far this thing goes back, and I'm telling my age.
And so this group still exists?
My group, yes,
Yes.
Louisville Ghost Hunters, sure do, yeah.
Right. And
And
you
got a
go.
few investigations going on right now.
Okay. All right. And now do you go all over the place or.
Oh yeah, Louisville Ghost Hunters. I mean, we try to go with basically 3 states around us on all sides. Kentucky's right in the middle, so you know, Ohio, Illinois. Poasttown's one of my favorite places to go to. Poasttown Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
Love the place and love Brenda and Daryl. Love them to death. And you know, when you go to these places and do them so long, you pretty much become family. And I'll even, me and my wife will stay there, inside school all night long. And then next morning you're up, Brenda's cooking you a great big, you know, country breakfast that you don't normally get. So
Okay. And so how did you combine the paranormal with the music?
well, music and sound is energy. And I'm not above being up here using musical techniques to try and get something happening. Uh, I coined the name of the rock and roll ghost hunter. Jason Hawes did that in the early 2000s, and it stuck. So I don't normally. At one point, we were going to get up here and actually do a shoot of a video of haunted bars across the nation, but that kind of fell through.
Hmm. Okay. So you're basically saying you play for the ghosts?
Do it
Do
again.
you play for the ghosts?
I've played some music and stuff like that, but I mean, I've even been known to use an electric metronome just to get up here and get sound generated to see if we can capture something. And when I teach a lot about learn your craft. You got to know why this gear works, what it was made for, what it was designed for, how it works, because a lot of people will get up there and take a two-axis EMF meter and wave it around. Oh, it's going off! It's going off! I got ghosts here! I got ghosts here! I'm like going, quit waving it around, stupid, and it will quit going off. The same thing with cameras. Learn how they work, learn why they work, and figure it out. I'm as psychic as a brick. I don't know if you've ever heard the stories of Waverly Hills about the guy getting hit with the bricks in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's and if I psychic, I would have ducked. I don't. So, if somebody walks up and says, I'm sensitive, I'm psychic, I'll say, fine, you do something stupid. Uh, I have been accused of shooting a psychic. I did not shoot her. I shot over her head. I'm setting the record straight. Scotty Rourke likes to tell that tale.
Okay. So,
Like I said, I do not suffer fools very much.
mm-hmm.
We went to a nursing home that had been closed down for a while, and the next day the bulldozers were coming to tear it down. And there's 15 people in there with me. I've got one group of about 10. We're in the other side of the place. It's a big place. And this guy comes and gets me. He says, "Man, you got to come up here. These people are freaking out. They're this doll they say is moving and doing all kinds of stuff." So I went up there, and they're all just going, "Look, it opened its eyes." I'm like, "It's a porcelain doll. It has no eyes that can open. There's nothing." And they're going, "It's talking to us. It's moving." So I just pulled out my 45 and shot it. I said, "Ain't moving no more." You know. So like I said, no, I don't suffer fools very much. There's a lot of stories out there that I supposedly did. Supposedly, I threw a guy off the top of Waverly Hills. I didn't throw him. I just dangled him
You dangled her. Okay.
because he was being stupid, and he was acting like they were going to throw some little 12-year-old over the side, and I just kind of grabbed him and slung him over and said, "How's that feel?" And then I realized I can't pull him back up.
Oops.
So, so luckily the guy was the caboose of my tour come over and we pulled him back up. So I didn't throw him off. I didn't drop him. He's alive, as far as I know.
So, you basically just don't like those shenanigans type of thing. When you go for an investigation, you want to find real evidence and
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a time that you can goof off, but when you're seriously investigating, you need to have your serious hat on and try to figure out what it is. I don't automatically go ooh ah into something, and a lot of people will go the other way. Like I said, I'm a musician from the '70s. I ain't got enough brain cells. I'll go head for something, and I will try to recreate something. And if I can recreate it, it's not paranormal in nature. If you can recreate it, nah, just throw that evidence out the door. And of course, a lot of people like to use the talk boxes, and they're going, "Listen, it's saying the devil is coming," and all I hear is wah 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 wah. And so I'm not a bit on them, but I am trying to learn. I'm not set in my ways. I do get up here and research and tinker with things and try to figure them out. And Bill Chappell's a very good friend of mine, and you know, if you got an idea, try it, but don't get silly and stupid about it. Going, I'm only 13 people hear this. Real. Okay.
mm,
Like I said, some of my best friends are psychics. We've worked, known him for 30 years. Rick Hayes, I call him my older, uglier brother. Uh, but I will listen to them because they know that I don't pick up.
mm,
I don't they'll go, "How you doing?" I'll say, "You're the psychic. Tell me."
Hmm.
I know that goes against a lot of people.
Well, I'm a medium and a psychic, so I go in and I get their stories and I talk to them.
See, that's
And
fine.
and then I
And
research.
I'll never begrudge you that, or even get up here and say I don't believe you or anything, because
Right.
there's that whole other side to our brain that we don't know what it does, how it works, and there's always room to learn and
Right.
to grow. And uh, God bless you if you're actually getting messages and you're seeing things, and you're hearing things. To me, that's an awesome tool to use.
Hmm. Right. When we do our investigation, and we do it a little different. We go in there more for the story of the spirits that are there, for them to tell us why they're there, who are they, and all that, and then we could research them and come up with the actual black and white evidence, so to speak. So it's like when we've gone to different
Historical venues.
yeah, historical venues, we get all the information and then we go and we look it up.
Or we give it to the historian,
Yeah.
and the historian says, "Oh, I just was able to validate that."
Right, right. So
That's that's fantastic. That's the way it ought to be. You're trying to find a way to validate through history. And I've always said for a long time, history can prove a haunting. You know, it that's that's a no-brainer. I
mhm.
love that.
Now, you said originally you were taunting that first spirit in the house.
Yeah.
Do you still instigate with them, or
No, no, and it's not because spirits have feelings. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. We don't know what this is. It's a phenomena. We haven't scratched the surface yet.
Mhm.
Uh, some people wholeheartedly believe it is a ghost, a spirit. Fine, that's great. It could be some aliens on some far off planet going, watch this. We don't know what it is. Uh, People get up here and say, well, I'm here to cross them over. And I'm like, well, first of all, how do you know what you're dealing with yet to be able to cross them over? If you're here to help, you got to figure out all the who's, what, where's, and why's. And we haven't quite got to that point yet. You know, uh, just because you feel something doesn't mean that's what's happening. Uh, we've gone into places thinking we're talking to a child, and then all of a sudden we are now talking to something totally different. And, so how do you get up here and combat something you can't really see? And it's willing to get up here and be something else for what they want to do. So, I, God love them. I'll give everybody credit saying, hey, I go in to do this. Tim Miley is an old friend of mine. And the very first time I ever met him, he's like, I'm here to help. And I'm like, bullshit. That don't work that way, you know, in my mind. And, we debated for almost an hour the first time we met, and we love each other dearly. But, you know, I have no problem somebody walking in and saying, look, I feel things, but if you walk in and you start acting silly and stupid, you're not going to be in the same room with me very much longer.
Mm. Yeah.
Or,
So,
or as Chris Booth used to say when we were interviewing somebody, and I would listen to them, and then when they started going, ooh, see that? See that? I'm like, it's a vortex. And I'm going, really? And I'm sitting there with a thermal imager, and I'm like, do you know what a vortex actually is? It gives off heat. This thing reads heat. Yeah, they're going in and out of the vortex. I'm like, really? Point to me where this vortex is so I can put this thermal imager on it, and they're, you know, all I can do is go by the science that we have today. I'm not a scientist, but I'm as close to it as I'll ever get.
Okay. Um, now what was your most memorable investigation?
Um, Place here in Kentucky called Crossroads and Rooster Run. Basically, you stepped on one side of the road, you're in one county, you stepped on another, you're in another county, you're basically in four different counties. And there was this house, these people had just gotten married, been there, oh, maybe 6 months, real loving couple, and all of a sudden they've turned on each other. They're actually killing each other. And come to find out, there had been two murders at this house with basically the same symptoms, and there's something there that's causing this. So the first thing you check out is see how much EMF is, radiating in the house, and of course there's nothing there, so except for normal radiation. And okay, we're not dealing with a fear cage, and uh, this guy went a little crazy, and as we're walking up the steps to go to the second floor, he starts attacking this girl that's behind me. He's biting her in the legs, and this is one of my guys, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And a couple guys pull him off, and he's like, I'm okay, I'm okay. And then he lunges at me. Well, he got knocked all the way down the steps, and as I'm going down to talk to him, there was a chandelier and hanging right there above the steps in this foyer, and this thing just starts swinging wild. And next thing I know, it's in my face, and I got about 45 minutes out of it.
Mm.
And ended up tearing the house down, and all that's there now is a barn. They won't build another house on it, period. And come to find out, there had been like 5 or 6 murders on this land.
Mm.
So I found several graves up there. Don't know whose they are, how long they've been there. Uh, we did ground penetrating radar, and there's no coffins. It's just bones. Well, that's all we can see. Well, it doesn't show you that much, but you can tell that it's not a square object. It's just, what looks like bones. So the owner of the place did have this dug up and had to end up calling the sheriff because they found bones.
Mm.
And the old. So that was interesting. And of course, like I said, I got to be the first one to do Waverly Hills, and I brought out a lot of the old evidence and stuff. I was there for 5 years,
Mm.
and that was great. Uh, I loved a lot of the places we shot for the TV series for Spooked. And of course, for 10 years, me and the Booth brothers traveled around, shooting all this. So I don't really have one specific spot. Like I said, the first thing that pops to my head every time is that place in Rooster Run, Kentucky, because we couldn't figure out what it was. And
Mm.
that very memorable.
Very merry. Okay. We were having a little trouble towards the end there, hearing you. This internet today is interesting. So, you have any?
What would be the next evolution in paranormal investigation that you would like to see?
If I said what I'm really thinking, I'd be in trouble.
Why?
The biggest thing is we got to get out of the mentality of everything's a demon. Actually get back to the investigative work of it, because not everything is paranormal in nature, not everything is haunted. And if you go on with that attitude, then everything is going to be haunted. and not just at 4 a.m. in the morning. And, there's been billions of people on this planet. How come some people get to come back and other people don't? So I'd like to get up here and see it go more into the scientific and the research like it started out as, because I think that's where it's going to be at. It's like people go, well, don't you want to help them cross over? I'm like, hell no, I want to capture it in a jar. I want to be able to talk to it. I want to see Satan tap dancing on a table, as long as I got a camera. I want to prove what this is. Do I think I'll ever see it in my lifetime? Nope. No. But, once you get your first taste of real, true paranormal activity, you're hooked.
Mm.
That's all I can say.
Well, I'm with you that not everything is demon, because between the two of us, you're looking at almost 120 years of paranormal experiencing and work.
Yeah.
And so very little of what we've encountered, excuse me, is indeed demonic. What if you could marry the two? What if you could get a better understanding along with the scientific proof of the different dimensions? Do you feel that it's possible that there are different frequencies that these entities exist on, since we've already seemed to have come to the conclusion that they are energy?
Yes, I do, and that's why on as far as equipment I use, I like to use thermal the best. That is a science that has been proven. I like to use infrared and different things of that nature because you know you got to have a little bit of science knowledge about everything when you're dealing with this. That's just like people say, well, I see shadow people out of the corner of my eyes. And I'm like, well, do you know why? And they're like, no, why? I'm like, do some research. Go talk to an ophthalmologist. They will tell you why you see this. And they're like, why? I'm like, because every part of your eye is a different spectrum. It sees a different color. And they're like, going, and I'm like, you see the color black in your peripheral vision. That's where it's the most optic. And so, yeah, you see something on the corner of your eye move, you go to look at it, it's gone. Well, there's your scientific fact and why it does that. If we get up here, it's like, Waverly, when we first started capturing the shadow people phenomena, we would see these things just come out of the doorways of the rooms and stuff, just stick their heads out. And then they started getting, I guess, because they were getting used to us being there, uh, they would walk right through us in the hallway and the temperature would drop, in that one spot. So, again, this is a phenomena. And, I would love to get up here. I've gone up here and gone on real exorcisms with Roman Catholic priests. And, people think it's what they see on TV. Well, it's not. They actually get up here and do so much work behind the scenes, uh, you know, medical and also physiological, just trying to figure out every little thing they can figure out. And only one time that I've been with them in the several that I've done where they've gotten up here and said, we think we're actually dealing with a different entity of some type.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, my research got shut down, and they're like, this is now the church's problem, and we'll deal with it our own way. Uh, because they're still pretty secretive about stuff too.
That's very true. But yes, and I've always said that not everything is a demon, and not everything is a possession. A lot of people think they're possessed, and it could just be you recreating a bad mood, you recreating a negative energy, and you know, uh, and I have been to in exorcisms. I have been allowed to be there and be part of it, and there's a lot behind it. Like you said, it goes through a mental evaluation, physical evaluation. They want to
Oh,
see the
the whole
environment.
family does. The
Yeah,
whole family does, not just
not just
the
a
person
person.
that's studying. Yeah, and
It's a
great.
whole process.
Yeah.
So it isn't just like, oh, I'm possessed and that's it, and they come and do an exorcism. Plus it takes sometimes years to get approval from the
Oh yeah.
Catholic Church.
Oh yeah.
So
You're totally right there. I mean, this is stuff that still has to go through the Vatican. You
mhm,
know, when you're dealing with the actual, Catholic Church,
right.
and and they're not just going, let's give an exorcism out every week. Uh, it doesn't work that way. And you know, I I do believe that the church does help a lot of people for the simple fact, this is a prayer faith based hobby right now. That's all it is. We have not proven one scientific shred of evidence yet. Uh, and a lot of people will feel so much better if a priest comes in and blesses their house,
Mhm.
and it gives them peace of mind, peace of spirit. And again, it goes back to their faith. And I am full for that if it makes somebody feel better. Uh, but does it alleviate the symptoms? Sometimes it does, but how many times have you heard that, well, I got my house blessed and 6 weeks later it's back? Well, either you're dealing with something paranormal or you're dealing with something that your brain is actually manifesting and
Mhm.
doing. And that goes back to what you said a minute ago, that you're putting these symptoms back out there because you're drawing in whatever you're feeling.
Right.
And again, that goes back to faith. And there are some people that are just so ate up with religion that, oh my God, uh, they just need to be shot sometimes. Uh, you know that that no matter what you say or show or prove to them, you know, uh, you're not going to sway them in any way, shape, or form. What their faith is what their faith is.
Well, I gotta give credit to anybody who sticks by whatever they believe. Um,
Oh yeah, no, no, no. I wholeheartedly,
right.
I do not grudge anybody what their faith system is, because if it works for them, great. It gives them comfort, and that's the big thing. I'm just saying, there's some people out there that you just go, man, you should have been swallowed, uh, instead, of actually popping out of the womb here. Uh, you know, it's if we get up here and get past the craziness and the point right now of everybody wants to be on TV, and
Mm-hmm.
they want their 15 minutes of fame, and they're going, well, that's easy for you to say. You've been on TV a lot. Well, I didn't ask to be on TV. It just kind of fell in my lap. I was very happy going doing what I was doing and going play music. You know, uh, still do. So, that's why Shannon's the star of the new show and I'm not.
Okay.
What do you do when you go to an attraction that makes money off of the paranormal and find that it's been fabricated?
Well, I am not a person that puts drama out there. Um, I have had a couple places, and I will tell the owner, look, here's what I found. I found Joe Blow standing over here turning the light switch off that covers this hallway, even though the light switch is all the way down the other end of the hallway. A couple things like that. And I don't put them out there on the internet. Like I said, it's like we said, I don't put my politics,
Mm-hmm.
put drama out there. If somebody else wants to do it, fine. Let them go do it. But if someone asks me about it, privately and personally, I'll tell them what I think or what I found.
It's
But
good.
you are correct. There are some places out there that are just for the money. It's just like that's like people get up here and say, I want to be on TV and make $1 million. Well, I hate to tell you this, paranormal pay sucks. We're not SAG members, therefore we are the lowest of the low on the totem pole. And matter of fact, I was talking to a star about that at 4 o'clock this morning, because of the writers strike and everything going on, and some things he wanted to do. And because I am not a SAG member, he could talk to me about it. So again, it does, like I said, it boils down to the ratings, it boils down to the money, and that's not to me, what this is all about. It's a phenomenon that we've been researching now for almost 100 years, and we haven't gotten very far with it. And to get the real scientists and people like that involved, and there have been a few, we need to cut out the foolishness and the craziness of this, and quit trying to be on TV. It's like I had a once and says, "Look at this picture, isn't this wild?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty interesting." He goes, "I need to find a production company to put this on TV." I'm like, "No, you need to research this, see if you can recreate it." And he goes, "Why?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "Why? Why do I need to recreate it?" I said, "To prove if it's real or not." And he's like, "Well, that's kind of crazy. I just want to get it on TV." That's the wrong attitude. So when you ask me about where do I want to see it going, I want to see it get back to the research, and what it should be in the first place.
Well, what if you could marry the two? What if you had the ability to work with someone who is actually able to communicate with them and can work with you to prove that they're there
Well, like I
empirically?
said, two people I love to death, and I do believe in their abilities: Scotty Rourke, Rick Hayes, and I've worked with them a lot. And they tell me something that they're feeling, seeing, hearing, then I believe them. Uh, and it's like I said, that can be a great asset and a tool, to try and make the two combine to work together. And I have no problem with that. I know I'm being harsh on a lot of subjects and stuff, but like I said, I'm not to the point where I'm not ready to listen to other people and learn. You've always got to learn. You've got to go different ways and figure out different things.
Well, the first thing I like to do is get a client's understanding of just how poorly they're set up to perceive the spectrum.
As in the
Well,
the
for
color spectrum.
instance, visually, what amount of light you can physically see, and
Yeah, the
then your
color
brain
spectrum.
has to try and make sense of it.
Right. That's just like pareidoia. People go, look at the face on that tree and on that wall and in the sky. Well, your brain is wired to do that, to make sense of what it sees.
Exactly.
And that goes back to what you're saying with the whole color spectrum and the analysis of it and what you're thinking, what you're seeing. I totally wholeheartedly agree with that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, not at all. This to me is where a lot of the misunderstanding comes in, because people seem to think that their opinion is real, and their opinion
Right.
is primarily just what their brain has been wired through uh, predisposition and bias to make it into.
And again, what their faith has taught them. So all that is wrapped up together, and you've got to try and peel those layers back.
So, aside from this TV series, and can you give us any information of where people can look for it and how people can get more information about you.
Well, they can find me on Facebook, or they can go to LouisvilleGHS.com, or Louisville, spelled out Louisville, and then GHS.com. Don't go to Louisville Ghost Hunter site. That's a Japanese porno site now. And I'm being serious. Don't go there. So you can find me there, and then I've got a couple pages on Facebook, and I put out where we're gonna be, what I'm doing, and stuff like that. And the TV series, it'll be out. Don't exactly have a date yet, but it'll be out sometime next year, streaming next year.
Nice. And that's going to be on Netflix or
No,
YouTube?
it'll be on the new YouTube streaming service.
Oh, the new YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not just YouTube. It's on their streaming service that they're putting out starting at the beginning of the year.
Oh, cool. Very good. Something to look forward to.
I'm sorry?
What's on your bucket list?
There is not too much I haven't gotten to do. I have never gotten to go to Scotland because I've always wanted to go to Scotland and walk the moors of Scotland. And another place here in America is Mackinac Island, the Grand Hotel. Always want to do that, but it's just too damn expensive,
Yes.
Hey, what can I say? I saw Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeves in 1980. I always loved the place since then. So, always want to go to Mackinac and never got a chance to yet.
Well, hopefully this will reach somebody who'll invite you.
Yeah, there you go.
Hopefully. Anybody got any tickets? I'll be happy to ride the ferry.
There you go. You heard it. And then do you have anything else that you're trying to bring out or anything like that? Or
In development.
Like I said, I have my own production company, and we've got a couple documentaries and a couple movies that me and my partner are talking about doing, producing and making, but it's all in the pre-production stages right now. So, like I said, right now the big thing is trying to get Bourbon Spirits finished up and out to the producers and work on that, and we're real close.
And what's the best place for people to get that information as it starts rolling out?
Just find me on Facebook.
okay.
Just Keith H.
Is that the correct link?
I think it's RGH Keith H, as in Rock and Roll Ghost Hunter.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't talk right now.
You verklempt?
Then
You know what? Everybody, I want you to note this date and time, because in all of the lifetimes I have known this woman, this is a first. But
I don't know. Maybe she's picking up my wife. My wife came home sick today. She's a nurse. Came home sick. And they tested her for COVID, and that's what she's doing. She's coughing her head off.
maybe that's it.
anything's possible with her. But I've never seen her speechless. So,
well, I sure as hell know it ain't me.
I don't know at this point whether that's paranormal or not, but I'm definitely going to have to run my own investigation on that.
There you go. There you go.
I'm sensing it could turn deadly, though.
Just make sure there's no blunt objects or anything sharp around her.
Yeah, blunt objects I'm not worried about. It's the sharp objects with this one.
I hear you.
It's very good with knives.
Oh, that's going to cost you.
See?
Yeah, better you than me, my friend.
Oh, yeah. I would never put anyone else at risk. I do my own stunts, folks.
Oh, you guys.
But I'm not responsible for stunting anyone's growth. I don't put that on me. Can you talk yet? No.
Every time I start.
Every time she thinks she's out, I pull her back in. But we're going to be heading out to Michigan in less than a couple of weeks. So perhaps we can work something out where she can show up somewhere that you've been or you're going to be, and if we can plan that into our trip, and the two of
Well,
you
if
can
you're
meet.
going up to Michigan, get a hold of Bob Dowd. He has got some great locations that he's got the hookup on.
Okay.
You can find him on Facebook, Bob DOWD.
Okay.
And he's a longtime friend, and like I said, he's got some really cool places up there that people can go to.
Nice. Okay. We'll look him up for sure. You talk.
I'm gonna talk. Yeah, normally this is Glenda's Dragons Den, but I'll bail you out. What do you know about quantum physics? Have you gotten scientific to the point of the theories of quantum and the energies that bridge the gap between Einstein physics and uh, what they
And,
don't?
and Morales's law of nature, yes.
How do you feel about that?
Matter of fact, if you ask my wife, she'll tell you that she woke up one night when I was talking in my sleep and I was giving a lecture on quantum physics. So, yeah, the mechanics of quantum physics, I think, can go a long way to proving what this stuff is. We just haven't gotten past the equation part of it yet. And I think once someone actually does that, I think we're going to open up a whole new world of things that we didn't understand, not just paranormal, but in nature and other things. And, I think Morales and Einstein were on the right track, which, quantum physics is also goes out to the string theory and different things like that that Einstein was working on before he died. And again, like I said earlier, we need to get the actual, scientists involved in this because there's always that merging of the physical and the non-physical. So I agree with what you were saying earlier about asking if we could merge the two. I think it's going to take the the scientist, the psychic, and the ghost hunter to all come together, and because like I said, we're just basically data takers right now. That's all we are, and I think once all that really does get combined, and everybody puts their heads to it, then we'll finally maybe start getting some answers.
I agree.
You talking yet?
I'm sort of.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I'm still
She's back, folks.
not really.
Not really.
No.
So we got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything we haven't touched upon that you would like to put out to the people, even if it's totally unrelated to what we've said so far?
Not really. Just the biggest thing is, if you've gotten into the paranormal and you enjoy it, keep doing it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it, or you're gonna find people that get up there and say think you're crazy, or just just don't want anything to do with it, well, that's fine. As long as you're not hurting anyone, but you really enjoy it, you're out doing things with friends, you're being social, go and do it. And always try to learn different things and don't just get pigeonholed into one thing. You know, if you like EVPs and things of that nature, don't go out there and spend a ton of money on stuff. Go get you a Zoom recorder that's about $100. They got the best microphones in the business, you know, musical and everything else. And you know, they got controls on them that you can control. Go do that. You don't have to spend a ton of money. You know, when I first started doing this, man, we had to just use 35 millimeter cameras, and that was expensive just to get the film and then get it developed and go, this is garbage, this is garbage, this is 50 cents, this is another 50 cents, you know, and things like that. And don't be afraid to use new systems and new ideas. You know, just have fun with it, enjoy it, because that's what basically you're starting for. A lot of people get into it because they've had a true paranormal experience. They want to learn, they want to know more about it. And that's great too. Find somebody that's credible, that's been in it for a long time. And, you know, they don't just go, everything's a ghost or, you know, or it's a demon, and learn from them. You know, that's to me, that's the perfect thing to do, to get up here, but have fun most of all, enjoy it.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not going to ask you to go into detail if you're going to answer positively. But when you go into a location or come out of a location, is there anything you do to spiritually protect yourself from whatever might be in there?
uh, when we were filming for Soul Catcher, the Native Americans did bless us as we came out and smudged us. I don't say any prayers or anything like that. I think it's a good thing because, again, it goes back to your faith. If that gives you power, then do it, you know. But me, like I said, I'm a musician from the '70s and ain't got enough brain cells left to, you know, think about things like that.
Oh boy. Well, so on that note, we want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you, Keith. This is great. Thank you for coming and being part of the Glenda's Dragons Den. And thank you to our audience, and keep sharing this, keep liking this. Find Keith H on Facebook, and soon,
And we will put the links up.
yes, and soon he will have that show out.
There we go. How's that?
And please, um, follow him and stay with us. All right. Hold on a second, Keith. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. As always, blessings and love you.
Ah.